you know, you go back to, again, my grandmother's time. She grew up in a house about the size of these two rooms here. And there would have been, yeah, there'd have been dancing in the house at least once a week. And dancing in the house meant clearing all the furniture, which basically meant folding it up into the wall, folding the trundle beds up, right, and taking things outside, or sticking them up in the loft, and then you'd dance. And that's what the music was for. The music and the dancing were really inextricably linked. The music was for dancing. And there's all kinds of long social history about how this has happened, but the two traditions have really grown now and, you know, kind of gone their own ways. They meet in ceilidhs and with step dancing. But the musicians now just play for themselves. And the dancers will run into, you know, very highly trained, you know, step dancers who are uncomfortable dancing to live music because they've really never done it.
Didn't really start any Irish until Sherry and I were planning a trip to Ireland in '96, and there was a person playing at Barnes and Noble by the name of John Kennedy, and one of Sherry's friends said, "Well, that sounds kind of Irish. Why don't you go over and hear him?" And that was really the introduction, and when that all started. So.
Started hanging around the doulas. We're doing the Monday session. And just kept moving closer and closer to the circle, and ended up in the circle.
I grew up singing. I grew up singing with family, and it was just self-entertainment. You know, long drives out to the Jersey coast to visit the family, and you know, singing. And it was all Irish songs. And you know, there were some songs that came out of maybe the American Songbook, but it was basically family singing. And one thing led to another.
By music, by ear, and John giving me ideas and thoughts, and me battling back and forth and saying, no, I don't want to do it that way. And John says, we'll do it that way instead. And eventually just kind of feeling what I wanted to play, and it's worked out fairly well most of the time.
By ear, so there wasn't any sheet music or anything. I still barely read music, so.
This group has largely grown out of sessions, which is more often than not a casual, sometimes just an accidental meeting of musicians, sometimes it's planned. But it tends to be very informal. You don't have a repertoire, but on the other hand you do. I mean, but it's never written down, but then sometimes it is. And you know what you're going to play next, but you're often surprised that that's not what you end up playing. Let's say the band grew out of us basically getting together in an open session, which means whoever wants to come, comes. People sit down, they play. And yet we ended up with a core group of musicians, and a couple of people, you know, we got asked to play. You start thinking, well, that's kind of fun, maybe we're a band. One thing leads to another.
I like to rise when the sun she rises early in the morning. I like to hear them small birds singing merrily upon the leyland, and hurrah for the life of a country boy, and to ramble in the new mown hay. In the spring we sow and the harvest mow. That's how the seasons round they go. Habit of all the times to choose I may. We'll go rambling in the new mown hay. For I like to rise when the sun she rises early in the morning. I like to hear them small birds singing merrily upon the leyland, and hurrah for the life of a country boy, and to ramble in the new mown hay.
Band at that point had been together for a couple of years and had some energy and a little bit of momentum, and at the exact same time Fiddler's Hearth opened up here in town. So then you had a public place where you could start gathering people who were interested in Irish music, Celtic music generally.
It became a community living room where people with a common musical interest could gather.
Basically a form of entertainment for yourself, and a session, which I just talked briefly about earlier, is as much a social event as musical.
Mm-hmm.
And people coming into it from an American tradition will make the mistake of thinking it's a jam session, i.e. pick up your instrument and play on everything, when it's not principally a musical event. It's a social event. I mean, sessions can get, you could have an entire interview just on sessions and how pissed off people get about, someone's sitting in my chair. Well, why are you upset about that if it's a musical event? Well, you're not. You're upset about it because it's a social event. And it's like sitting down at a dinner table in your home, and if someone's sitting at your chair in your home, you feel put out. Well, that's kind of what happens at a session. It's you're in your comfortable space.
Even my sister, who does the dancing and stuff, she will go to some of the sessions that they have down at Fiddler's Hearth, and she'll just be like, "You guys didn't play very much tonight. It was mostly just talking. We'd play for 4 minutes and then just talk for 10 minutes in between, just having fun and chatting and stuff." So it's something that, it really is something that, once you're on the inside, that it really opens up. And
by the way, Bob's plaid shirt against the flowered wallpaper is the authentic Irish fashion experience.